So, I'm Beth the Builder, and what are we doing with this? So, I am gonna move this light fixture because a light behind my fridge isn't exactly useful. So, you might think that this is a weird place for a light fixture, but my house is 120 years old, so there probably wasn't a fridge here, and it probably wasn't that weird to have a light fixture there. It's a old style like porcelain light fixture, so we've never used it because it's a funny little pull string. It's not attached to the wall very well. It's kind of janky. And we had another light fixture over our sink that was a little bit nicer, which I did end up replacing. This is maybe one step above that. So I have to run wire into my ceiling, put a junction box, wire a light switch. It's gonna be a whole thing. So we're gonna see how long it takes me. I'm not wearing a watch, just pretend, okay? Let's talk about equipment. First of all, you need a voltage detector, okay? This should be like your number one thing you buy if you don't own one and you own a house. Get a voltage detector. They're super handy, it's cheap. You can get a cheap one for, I don't know, like $7 or something. So it just is gonna protect you, and also learn your circuit breaker. Learn what breakers do what things. Map them out if you have to. We just recently did that with our house because it was a trip to try and find which breaker turned off which thing. Is that a pun? A trip? You trip a breaker? Might be a pun, but an unintentional one. This is a contactless one. That's hard to say. But you can get fancier ones. I'm all about simple tools because I don't like wiring. So I know the basics. I have a book about wiring. I've not done a ton of it. It is one of those things that you want to be careful of. You want to be wise about. I apparently have not always been wise because people in comments have been snarky about things I've done, but there's no such thing as house police, okay? So fight me, all right? I try and be as smart as possible, and I'm always learning. If you use some common sense, you get a voltage detector, and you turn off a breaker, double check things, you're gonna be okay with like changing out a light fixture, replacing an outlet. Some of that stuff is like so simple. It's not something to like, I don't know, cry about or like get wigged out about. So it used to intimidate me a little bit more, but I've done a number of like pretty simple wiring things, and it's all gone pretty much fine. So besides that, wire strippers are of course very handy to have if you're gonna be doing any kind of wiring type things. Super useful. I think I stole these from my mom or something, so she's not gonna use them. So, and then of course, common tools that you should have anyway if you're gonna be doing any kind of DIY things like screwdrivers, pliers, a drill, a tape measure, okay, all those things. But besides that, you're gonna need a junction box. So there is obviously not one in my ceiling, so I got a junction box. It's a ceiling mounted one, circular. I have to get a junction box for a light switch, but I'm gonna need a light switch because this is a pull string guy. Wire connectors, like I have a bunch of miscellaneous ones, so it's good to have some of those if you're gonna be doing wiring things. Wire is important to have if you're gonna be adding light fixtures, doing stuff like this. A light fixture, so I got this one at a thrift store. It's brand new for $5. You can't beat that, okay? So it has all of the bracket pieces to it. It has a little bit of instructions about wiring it, which is stupid because it's so simple. So it's brand new, and it's just a globe, pretty simple, nothing fancy. If I can spend $5 instead of $20, I'm gonna do it. So I was literally, I went to the thrift store looking for a light fixture to do this project, and it literally was the only one there, and I was like, yeah, it's brand new and it's $5. You're coming home with me. This was gold initially, so lots of like cheaper, older style light fixtures, even though this does say it was new. Gold is kind of the go-to. I think it's just the cheapest thing. I don't know. I feel like gold just looks kind of cheap because it's obviously not gold. So I painted this, the top part. So I got some brown spray paint, and when it's on the ceiling, like you're not even gonna be able to tell. So, and you can do that, okay? No one is going to know. No one. And spray paint works really, really well for that because it attaches, it sticks really well. I roughened up the like metal a little bit just so it would stick really good, and then sprayed it. You know, it's not hard. Okay, and then you can change. So this kind of matches more closely to the light fixture I put above our sink. So that's like a oil rubbed bronze, which I really like that color. It matches all the other, like all the knobs and stuff like that in our kitchen. So this is not a perfect match, but no one is going to know. So that's obviously something you're gonna need if you are going to be adding a light fixture or you wanna replace it. You need a light fixture. And I'm not gonna be moving that guy because it's a hot mess. Okay, so I think that's all of the things, basically, that I'm gonna need. I gotta get a ladder. I shouldn't even have to say that. I'm gonna put on my boots because it's working with wiring type things. Probably wear some shoes, okay? Just a good point. So first things first, I'm gonna turn the power off. I'm gonna start taking this guy off. I will not put the light switch right here. That would be stupid. I'm gonna move it to a normal height. So I will move it probably right here so it's not behind the fridge, and I'll put it at the standard height for light switches. So I'm gonna turn the power off. We're just gonna begin. Did this go exactly to plan? Not at all. It is by far a intermediate into like expert type of project, which I did sort of consider, but I'm all about kind of like jumping in, plowing ahead. But the light works. Yeah, see, it got brighter, okay, yeah. The outlet that's tied into it also works. And then this little plate here just hides this box that I had to put in to hide those wires, make them all, you know, safe. Everything's safe, it's fine, okay? No one freak out. Everyone really likes to hate on my electrical projects because they're like, you're not an electrician. I'm like, yeah, I know. I wasn't gonna release this video because it didn't go to plan. I'm not 100% happy with it because there's a weird thing I couldn't get up into my ceiling. Boy howdy did I try, and I don't know what to do. So that would be the place where if I had the money and was really worried about it, I would call an electrician and they would do that. And I don't even need to talk about that because guess what? Everyone has a friggin' phone and knows how to call somebody, okay? So don't look to me to tell you to call people because I'm all about like jumping in, trying stuff, and being safe, of course, but trying stuff, okay? And guess what? Your grandpa didn't call an electrician every time he needed to replace a light, okay, or an outlet or something. So we've become very, very privileged in that everyone just is like, oh, you just call people. Oh, my smart fridge doesn't work. I'm locked out of my house because I have a smart house. Like, these are dumb problems that you can't solve yourself. But they didn't used to be this way. People used to just do themselves because that was the only option. Like every town didn't have 5 electricians or 6 different plumbers or heating and cooling people that they could call. You had to like figure it out. So yeah, people really don't like my wiring projects. At least that seems like the main takeaway from them. And I don't really give a shit because there's no house police that are gonna show up and like be like, you can't wire that light. It's like, I own this light, buddy, okay? I'll do what I want with it. And guess what? You'll get pretty far with just like a basic wiring book and some basic tools, which is all I have, and I've gotten pretty dang far and fixed problem. And some things I'm not gonna tackle, okay? I shouldn't even have to say that because everyone has a limit of their skills, and you don't wanna leave stuff in your house all janky and broken and unsafe, but you can get pretty far with some basic stuff. And anyone who's trying to stop you from doing that are gatekeepers and are like, I don't know, they must be made of money and f those people. So, okay, all right, I want to hear about it. So, I'm aware they haven't always gone as planned. Plenty of my projects, things I've tried, don't go exactly to plan. And that's where being flexible, being able to, you know, roll with the punches and think on your feet and know what you're comfortable with and know what you're not, does come in handy. So this light totally works. Let's look at it. Look. So yeah, pretty dang satisfying. The light turns on. And then below is an outlet that's tied into this light switch and all this wiring and stuff. So that's where I actually did learn a lot, is that going through my wiring book and looking at stuff, I had to figure out, okay, I need this outlet to always have power. And I need this light switch to always have power and be able to turn on and off. But I don't want the outlet to be controlled by the light switch. That's not how I want it. That would be silly, because then my fridge is off all the time. So that was the thing where I like genuinely like read through my book and learned how to wire it correctly. And it was, I was so proud. And I used my multi-oscillating tool to cut these holes better. That was also where I was slightly stalled, is that I was really struggling because of how thick my walls are to get a good hole. So I definitely made a funny hole and I had to patch it, but you really can't even tell. So it's the magic of plaster and paint. It makes it look 10 times better and you can't even tell where you punched a hole in the wall. So overall, the light works, everything works and is safe. So I'd call that a win. That up there, that's where, you know what, I couldn't win them all because I didn't know exactly what I was getting into. So be nice to me. I am admitting the things that I couldn't get done and that I didn't have the experience for. I'm fully admitting that this is not a project for newbies or for inexperienced people with this stuff. I definitely like to just go balls to the walls and jump in and try a thing when I have an idea in my head. So and that's why I wasn't gonna release this, because it was like, well, that didn't go how I wanted. The finished product is pretty satisfying for me. To have this light work, to have it all plastered, painted, etc. Very satisfying. So I don't want to hear about it in the comments, but this is just encouragement that you can tackle projects that even if you feel somewhat intimidated by, because this project did intimidate me, but I used my head, thought on my feet, and you know, now we have a light that actually is usable for this kitchen. So, and that's like 2 thumbs up. I appreciate the heck out of you guys. Check out any links I'm gonna put up here. I will, I know I've been taking a little bit more breaks, but I will soon be able to share some crazy things that are happening. Hey, this is when you can turn on those notifications, because I may not have a video every single week, but I won't go hopefully more than a week without having one. So click the subscribe button and notifications, and then you'll know when I'm posting. But won't go more than a week is my plan. Sometimes you just gotta like take it easy, be kind to yourself. You can't do it all. There's only so many hours in the day. But I really appreciate you guys. Anyone who is stuck with me and hasn't been snarky about my wiring projects, thank you. I appreciate that. And I will see you guys next week.